Hey everybody, it's Ryan from Pi Records, and I'm here with Leopoldo from Reverb Brasil Records. How are you, Leopoldo?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much. First, I have to comment on the awesome Hitchcock shirt you have.
Yeah.
Big fan of those
So-
guys
yeah.
and their surf music. Um, Tell me a little bit about what you do with Reverb Brasil Records.
Yeah. Reverb Brazil started back in 2000, the year 2000. And it started as a chat room and email discussion list on Yahoo groups. And then it began to create something bigger. It was like an association of surf bands from all around Brazil. And we would make festivals and tours, and whenever a band wanted to play in another city, we would just make contacts through the list, and it became something bigger. In 2006, we released our first CD, a compilation with 13 bands, but we were not a label yet. From 2010 onwards, I started to release some of the records of the bands that I liked. Sometimes I had some money that I could put on the releases, and then it started to flow. It was starting to make sense to release more and more records and a lot of great bands, and it became a proper label with more releases and a certain uh, uh, how do I say, a lot of releases by year, and our schedule is we always have something coming up. So we started to become a proper label. But I had three radio shows from 2000 to today. The first one was from 2000 to 2001 to 2003, and was in a FM radio, a proper radio. There were no internet radios back then. And in 2013 or 14, I don't know, I started with a radio show in Radio Antena Zero. It's a online radio. The show was called Surf Report. And I also started with North Sea Surf Radio. I had a show there, Surfing South, that I played mainly Brazilian bands, but also Latin American bands. There are a lot of shows that would play the classics, American bands, European bands. So I wanted to focus on Latin American bands, and that's all we do, you know. Uh,
I,
back
I
into
I think it's really important what you're doing in South America, representing a lot of great bands that might not get heard otherwise.
Yeah, we always wanted to do something for the scene. So every time one band sends a CD for a radio show, we use it to send for CDs from our friends' bands as well. So we back in the 2001, 2002, I would pick CDs from all the bands, and I would ask them, "Oh, send me two, and I will send one to a radio show." So I would
Wow.
send like a big box to Phil Dirt from KFJC, uh, had the site Reverb Central, and I would send CDs for him to play and to review on the show. Still today, when I want to send something from Reverb Brazil to some radio shows, I usually send at least a few from other bands that are not on my label, but friends' bands. And mainly the bands do that as well. We just want to spread the word of Brazilian surf music.
Yeah. And are you in Sao Paulo?
Yes, I live in São Paulo now. For 13 years, I live in São Paulo, but I'm from Belo Horizonte.
Okay.
That was the main place for surf music in Brazil, and a lot
Well,
of bands started. There were a lot of bands that are not as many today, but we have an annual festival there that started back in 2000. So it's a 20 years old surf festival. I believe it's the oldest in the world. It's still happening. Didn't happen last year because of the pandemics. We did an online version,
Yeah.
and maybe we will come back next year.
Why do you think the part of Brazil that you're in right now is so popular in surf? There's so much surf music coming out of there. Why do you think there specifically?
Oh, I don't know. In Belo Horizonte, it was something that a lot of factors would make it a great place. We had a label there that was also a producer for festivals and tours, and they brought Menor Instrument to Brazil 3 times in 1908, 99, and 2001. And they would distribute records by Astros Records, Lookout Records that had Phantom Surfers on their, they released, I believe, 2 or 3 CDs by Phantom Surfers, and Touch and Go that would release Mineral Stroman as well. So it was easy for us to get these albums, and we were like in our early 20s. It was something that made sense. São Paulo is a very big city. We have like 20 million in the
Oh, wow.
metropolitan area, and it's the biggest state, and so it's things that were easier here to get import albums, and every band that would play in Brazil would play in São Paulo first, sometimes only in São Paulo, so was easier. Belo Horizonte, it's a smaller city. It's like 2 million, maybe 3 on the metropolitan area. We had a very strong heavy metal scene. Sepultura is from Belo
Yeah.
Horizonte.
Yeah.
So when we were kids, it was like, oh, I want to be that guy, you know,
Yep.
because I believe they're one of the most famous Brazilian bands from any style in the world.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to get to see them in 1992
Oh,
in Pennsylvania, and it was incredible. Like it was, I couldn't describe a Sepultura show in one word or one sentence, because it was the original group and there was just something very special about it.
yeah, I saw them for the first time in '94. They toured with the Ramones, so I got to see the Sepultura and the Ramones the same day. It was great.
That's a
I
great
was
show.
like 17 years old. It was
Yeah. So what things are you working on right now? What sort of, I know you have tons of bands on your label, but what specifically right now are you really excited about?
Yeah, we are about to release a split album by Cold Cobra and the Gasolines, and we released it in the streaming service already on Bandcamp. We still don't know when it will come out on CD and LP because of the pandemics. The plans are all a lot of delays, so we don't
Yeah.
have a date yet. I'm really excited by this album. Oh, my camera.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm back.
gotcha.
So we are releasing this split LP and CD by Cold Cobra and the Gasolines. I like it a lot because they are 2 pretty different bands, but they have a common history. Because the Gasolines is one of the oldest running surf bands in Brazil. It started in '93, because the Alexandre Kanashiro, it's the guitar player, he was in Memphis and he saw Guitar Wolf playing Link Ray, and he wanted to have a band just because of Guitar Wolf playing Link Ray.
Uh-huh.
And he created the Gasolines. And a few years later, in Belo Horizonte, at our surf festival, Rafael Boi, he's the guitar player from Cold Cobra, he saw the Gasolines playing, and he said, "Oh, I want to have a band because of these guys." So it's a full circle, you know.
Yeah,
And I like, and it's so cool because the Gasolines, they started as, because of Guitar Wolf that's so noisy and crazy, and they just pick something from Link Ray, something from Africa, something from the Middle East, something from the Caribbean, from Latin American music. So they have a rich kind of music, but always you can feel the surf music influence. It's not the influence; it's the main line of their work is surf music, but always traveling around the world, and I like it a lot. And it's something that happened since the beginning of surf music. You know, Mr. Lou, Malagueña, they
yeah,
have a lot of world music playing through surf music. And Cold Cobra, it's they usually their previous records are garage punk blues. It's with vocals. They sing a lot, but they recorded only instrumentals to this record because of the Gasolines. So
oh,
it's I like it a lot. It's two pretty different bands, but I've been listening to this album a lot, and I'm really glad to listen to something I'm going to release because at least makes sense for me to put it out. You know.
yeah, yeah. Well, one thing well, you were just talking about world music and a lot of different influences. There is one guy that I spoke to from your label that really impressed me, Duda Victor,
Yeah,
from Terramotor.
Terremoto. Yeah,
Talk talk about how cool it is to have that kind of musician on your label.
yeah. Duda Vitor, he's a hero here. You know, because he one of the oldest running bands in Brazil is Búfalos d'Água, and he formed this band, I don't know, some 20 years ago. Then he moved to Greece. He formed the Dirty Fuse. That's another great band. One of my favorite surf music records is Surfabetica by Dirty Fuse. It's a it's also something from Greek music, but surfy. And when he came back to Brazil, he made Terremoto. And when he asked me if I would be interested in releasing his CD, and I was like, yeah, of course, man. You're like and he's a great guy. I know him. I don't know. I believe I met him for the first time in 2004 at our festival in Belo Horizonte. So it was easy to have that. And he would just record everything, just send to me the covers, and it's ready. And I was just like, okay, let's put it out. And I love the band. I think they're getting better and better every time, you know. Um, Let me just check my camera.
Oh, I got you.
Because I'm using my phone as my camera, so I
Yeah,
think it's and Duda, I like the band as not only Duda, but I love the best bass player. It's something hard to find a bass player that stand out in a surf music band. Many times they're just on the behind, and the drummer is also amazing. They have some in there. They have a 7-inch released by Otitis Media
yeah.
Records,
Noah.
and he has some stuff like a kind of samba, like Brazilian rhythms. I think they are a great band. And it's hard to find a trio that works that's so full like them are.
I think he brought back a lot of the Greek traditional music for Terramotor, would you say?
Yeah, yeah. And Duda is like a sponge, you know. He went there, he didn't know the music, and then he became a great player and a great a great knowledge about the music, and he brought it back to Brazil, and he mixed that with Brazilian music and with surf music and punk rock. That he's a big punk rock fan.
Yeah,
So it's he sucks everything and mix it together. It's a great guy. It's an amazing guitar player.
that's uh that's one thing I found amazing about him. Like you said, he's a sponge. he just takes it all in and then spits it back out at you. And he lives a very interesting life.
Yeah, you can say that. And a lot of records that I have from bands from Londrina, that's his city. When I check the liner notes, he had something to do with that. He recorded, he lent a guitar, he took pictures. He did something for a lot of bands from his city. It's
So the one band on our last show that I played was Intoxicos. Tell me a little bit about Intoxicos. I really dug this song. That's why I chose to play that one first.
yeah, these guys are from Vila Velha. The guitar player from Cold Cobra was the best player for Intoxicos, and we are big friends. So every time he has something on, I I usually help him to release it, and I just love them. They are great players and pretty traditional. A lot of Brazilian bands are pretty heavy and a lot of punk and even some metal influences, and they are just pure surf music, but in a modern way, you know.
Yeah,
I remember, I think a lot of Pollo Del Mar when I listen to them, and
yeah,
sometimes some like in the Cosmonauts, some modern bands, Straight Jackets, and
yeah.
this kind of cleaner but modern stuff. I like them a lot, and they put a great live show as well.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
they they play all that live, you know. It's not just a studio outfit.
Yeah. So how did all this get started? Were you always a fan of surf music? Was it punk rock? What was it guitar? What did it for you to start getting a
Yeah,
part of the community?
it's a crazy story. I was, as I told you, I lived in a small town near to Belo Horizonte. In the early 90s, we wanted to be like Sepultura. And we wanted to have a thrash metal band. So my friends and me, we started a band and we wanted to be a thrash metal band. But every cover we wanted to do of a thrash metal band was a punk rock song. So we'd play Anarchy in the UK by Megadeth or some Ramones song that another thrash metal band would cover.
Yeah.
And we were becoming a punk rock band without knowing that. And one day in a sound check, we were going to play in a show in our town. It's a small town. The guitar player started to play Pipeline. So I asked him, what song is that? And he said, oh, it's Pipeline by Anthrax. So I got the Anthrax CD that had Pipeline. A friend had the CD. I liked the song. I read the liner notes. They said that the song was by The Ventures. So I started to look for The Ventures and some more music like that. I found some songs on my parents' records and some compilations, some oldies compilations. And I started to know more about some of these instrumentals, and I heard about surf music. I started to look for the Beach Boys, also because of the Ramones. I got to Trashman
Yeah.
and the Beach Boys and stuff. And then Pulp Fiction came out and made it a lot easier for
Yeah.
me. So we had some albums released in Brazil. Dick Dale had Calling Up Spirits released in Brazil
Yep.
in a
Yep.
compilation. Man had 2 records released in Brazil. So it started to get a little easier for us. Around 97, 98, when I was already living in Belo Horizonte, I started to know some people that like this kind of music. We started to make bands and going to shows. And around 98, I started a band. It started as we were just going to play on a friend, my cousin's school talent show. we were supposed to play 2 songs. So we did a pupurri with Wipeouts and Do You Wanna Dance, the Ramones version.
Yeah, yeah.
And then on another occasion, we were to play 2 songs. We played Pipeline and Wipeouts. And we liked the result. It started to become a real band. It was called Frank Se Mata. And we wanted this band to be a band, a zine, a label, a producer, a radio show. But we started to feel that we had to make something new, not the band become all of this. So we started Reverb Brazil as just like something that came out of the band. In 2000, we made a festival, Primeiro Campeonato Mineiro de Surf. It was in a club, club in Belo Horizonte. It's like a small place, 2,000 people. No, 200 people, not 2,000. Sorry, not that big. And the owners, they had a band, a surf band, instrumental, and we just got to them and said, well, we had a band, we have a surf music band. We have some friends from Rio, from Curitiba, from other places. We want to do a festival, and they said, oh, okay, let's do it. So we started that in 2000. So I don't know, maybe I was 4 years listening to surf music without knowing something about a scene, without many bands many friends that like it. And then in 2 or 3 years, we started a band, a festival, a radio show, made a scene happen. It was a great time to be in Belo Horizonte for surf music fans. You know?
That's awesome. So you collectively all started around the same time, all having this idea to create your own scene.
Yeah, no, we wanted. I was already involved in the psychobilly scene, and they had something similar in Curitiba with a zine, a fanzine, a radio show, and they would make a festival, and they were always releasing stuff and trading tapes and trading CDRs. It was not easy to use. MP3s in that era were not used.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do something like that in surf music. So we have a big influence from the people from Curitiba, from the psychobilly guys. And we would travel to Curitiba. And in Brazil, the scenes are really close. A lot of the guys from psychobilly bands play in surf music bands, and vice versa. It's almost the same public, the same crowd. Yeah.
Do you have a lot of mixed bill shows?
Yeah, we have a lot, and the guys from Mullet's Monster Mafia, they are great in doing that. They usually play with a lot of hardcore bands and punk rock bands, psychobilly bands, but even some heavy metal and thrash metal bands, and they cross these lines, and it's great. You bring different people to the scene, and we have a lot of bands from different cities that they are on the local scene, and they share bills with other styles as well. And our festival, we try to make it more surfy, but we always have something that's some punk rock, some garage, something different sometimes. And it's not like Belo Horizonte, because it's a small city. Usually you go to every kind of gig, you know. Yeah. I would go to ska, punk rock, heavy metal, garage, surf, rockabilly, psychobilly, and in São Paulo, it's like more of a scene thing, you know. Yeah. Rockabilly people go to rockabilly shows, and garage people, mods, go to different kinds of shows, and we try to cross this line sometimes, you know. Surf music is easy to cross these lines. You can please rockabilly fans, you can please garage fans, you can please mods, you can play punk rockers. It's a friendly style, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Um, what do you think has been the most rewarding part of promoting shows, putting records out, getting to meet the bands, making friends? Of all those things, what are the thing you feel most grateful for?
Oh, it's definitely making friends, you know. It was always trading mails with bands from Europe, from the US. So I went to Surfer Joe's Summer Festival in 2011, and my wife was like, "You know all these guys?" And I was, yeah, I know them. And when we went to Waldo Fest in Mexico City, I would know a lot of people there, and it was I would bring some CDs, and they would give me some CDs, and uh, I like that, you know, when you meet someone that you have never met on your life and you became friends easily just because of music. So I think the best part is that. So I got to meet a lot of people from around the globe, and it's great, you know.
It's great to for me as well, is just to be able to speak the same music language with somebody else who's just obsessed with music. And in normal everyday life, not everybody gets to talk about music as much as they'd like to. I think I don't,
Yeah,
but that's why I do these interviews, so I can talk to people and meet people. And um I think that's a great way to make friends. You know,
yeah, it's a common interest. It's so easy, you know, to to meet these people. It's great. I like. I think it's the best part when I go to another city in Brazil, and I know there's something that someone there that's going to meet with me, share a beer, talk about music, maybe go to a show and trade some CDs, some albums, take me to a good record store. It's always great, you know.
awesome. So what is coming up next for you?
Yeah, I'm talking with another band to release a 7-inch, and I want to do a new volume of the Brazilian Tsunami compilation. We did a 3 CD compilation with 63 Brazilian bands, but
Wow.
a lot of bands were out of that. So I want to make a new volume. Think about maybe 2 CDs, one with older bands from the 90s to 2010, and another one with new bands. But still on my mind. Still haven't made no move to put it
Yeah.
out. We always want to. We did the first edition of Brazilian Tsunami Festival in 2019. I was about to announce the new edition of the when the pandemics broke. So already had 8 bands booked, but not no contract signed yet. And when the pandemics broke, we didn't even announce the festival. We had just to cancel it before
Uh,
anyone know. I want to make this festival as soon as possible. We are kind of behind the rest of the world in Brazil on the pandemic situation. As soon as we have some good vaccination around the country, we'll start to think something new. As we have no idea when this is going to happen, it's hard to make some plans to new releases or new events, because we here in Brazil we just gave up to make any prediction of how long this is going to take to vaccinate to
yeah.
everyone. I was I had my shot in the beginning of the year because I'm a doctor on my spare time.
Your spare
So
time, you're a doctor?
yeah. So I had my in January, the because of a health profession. So,
Yeah.
but my wife has no idea when she will have it. Maybe in September or October.
Wow.
So it's yeah, it's we gave up to try to have an idea what's going next, what's coming
Yeah.
next, because it's crazy. But
I'm sorry to hear
it's
that.
yeah, we let's hope we have a 2022 because 2021 it's not gonna happen. A lot of
Yeah.
stuff down here, you know.
So you said in your spare time you're a doctor. How do you
Yeah,
how do you make time being a doctor to do all this other stuff?
yeah. I also have a bar. I believe I told you before. So on weekdays I'm a doctor. 3 days a week I work in a clinic. On weekends I have a bar, a craft beer bar with my wife, and we take care of that on the weekends. And I try to do the music stuff in the meantime, you know. I used to have the radio shows, but I don't find time to do that now
Yeah.
because it takes me like 2 or 3 hours uh, recording, editing, and picking the songs. So
Yeah.
I was not having the time. I gave up. I thought it was best to put it on hold for a little, and maybe another time come back to that.
Yeah.
So when you have a lot of stuff to do, you find the time. When you have
Yeah.
nothing to do, you just don't do nothing, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, Leopoldo, before we sign off, I'd like to give you a chance to promote anything or say anything, touch on anything that we may not have talked about.
Yeah, I just would like to invite people to visit our Bandcamp on reverbbrasil.bandcamp.com. We have most of our releases there. I will put some more that were online, but I gave it back to the bands, and I will have a new post, so I will post it again. We for a while we are not able to send it to other countries, and they just changed the policies for shipping, and I don't know how I'm going to do that. They changed this June 1st, so I have no idea how it's going to be now. You can find some of our releases at doublecrownrecords.com. They carry some of our releases, and I hope soon we'll have a better distribution in the US if I can't make it for because it costs almost the same to send one record or send 10.
Yeah.
So it's almost impossible to send one record now.
Yeah.
It's so it's better if I find someone who can pick like 30 of CDs and albums and sell it, because it's going to be really expensive to send smaller packages to the US or other countries.
Yeah, I totally know what you
And
mean. Yeah.
so, and I would like everyone to listen to our compilations that are on our Bandcamp. We have, I believe, 5 compilations up there. It's more than 100 tracks, and we have one rockabilly, garage, and surf compilation with anti-fascist bands, and one surf music, antifa surf music, anti-fascist. Hard to say it in English. Uh, and also we have the compilation Greetings from Brazil. That it was a compilation that I made for when I was at Surfer Joe in 2016. I did a lecture about Brazilian surf music there,
Okay.
and I gave away these compilations, download codes, and made this compilation for this event at Surfer Joe
Oh,
Summer
wow.
Festival. And also Brazilian Tsunami, it's also there, the 3 CDs. Oh, we have the compilation for the online edition of the festival. It's more than 60 bands as well. Oh, it's almost 200 bands in this compilations there.
Wow.
And they are really, I believe, $5 each downloads, and you can listen it for free as a streaming.
Yeah.
So you can learn about a lot of Brazilian surf bands there, and listen to the split Gasolines and Coach Cobra, because it's really good. I'm really proud of this release.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Leopoldo. It was wonderful talking to you and hearing your story. You're so immersed in the scene and I can see that it brings you great joy.
Yeah, it's great. I like it. It's a good thing in my life. It's great that my friend played Pipeline that day.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you have a great night, and thank you so much.
And thank you for having me. And I've been watching a lot of the interviews from your channel. A lot of great stuff. So if you like this one, go watch the others, because there's a lot of great stuff.
Thanks so much, Leopoldo.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.